If you want your picture to be featured on that countdown of 10 seconds worth of photos, send us a picture of your rig doing something awesome off road. Also, this episode of the Offroad Podcast is sponsored by Warren Medical Gear Outfitters and Colby Valve.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 408, Off-Road Pranks.
Tonight, Aaron gets his act together, Coy tries to get brighter, and Ben makes an escape.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. Your hosts tonight are Aaron. Coy will be here sooner or later, and my name is Ben, and welcome to the show. Aaron,
Thanks for having me.
You're here. I'm here.
I'm here.
Coy is as his computer picture, that screenshot he sent us, is 100% done and just waiting to finish. What it say? Configuring update for his Windows 10. It's at 100%, so he'll be here sooner or later. It's the joys of computers and updating them.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time my computer's ever wanted to update, so I don't.
I've got one here. It says your device needs to restart to install, and I'll do that after I podcast.
Give yourself seven days for it to get done properly.
Yeah, like usually I edit the podcast after we record, and generally I upload it right away. Apparently last week I forgot, so the episode's up now. But yeah, I can't keep it together. But it all worked out, right?
Yeah. Well, besides not getting the podcast uploaded last week, what else did you do?
Well, I got materials for my shop, which I should have taken pictures of. I have insulation, I have wood, I have cement, I have metal siding and roofing, and all the fasteners for all that. What I don't have is doors right now.
Okay.
Those are getting delayed. They were having a problem with one of their suppliers on that, but theoretically they could come out and start building right now. And
yeah, you don't need doors to.
You would know, right?
Of that.
So I'm just waiting for them to come out and start throwing it all together. I talked to them, and they said they will. It looks like they're starting the day they said, so it doesn't look like I'll be going to Montana with the family, which is fine because while they're gone in Montana, I'll use it as an opportunity to work on the shop. And like I think we had talked about this before one of the shows where I'm going to bury my conduit for all my electrical underneath the gravel and have it stubbed out. And then I can just run my line, all my electrical for my outlets underneath the slab versus going up above with Romex or MC cable.
Yeah, right on.
So I'm looking forward to that. Other than that, I had a bunch of family stuff go on, and I decided I needed to get out of town and decompress. So there's a picture of me decompressing on my favorite lake.
I don't know if you know this, Ben, but you have to go a little bit deeper in the water if you're going to pee in the water so that they don't notice just the wet spot in the front of your shorts.
Oh, I went deeper later. I fully got in. Unfortunately, with this right here, that's about how much driftwood. Well, there was tons driftwood.
Yeah, that's a lot.
The whole beach is just littered with it. Because the lake is really low right now. Here's a picture.
You guys build anything cool?
No, that was already built right where we were hanging out. So if you look, you can see the rust on the metal poles for that fishing bridge right there. That's usually how high the lake is, and it's been really low for the last couple of years because of drought and all that. Well, all the other lakes are full, but Rife Lake, they're working on the dam itself, and so they've kept it low.
Gotcha.
But I took the whole family out. Some of us needed to find our inner zen.
Ha! Yeah, how
Um,
did that work for him?
you know what? He's a little happier now. The
Okay.
dog found a nice place to camp out. Um, yeah, it was pretty fun. If you can look in the distance there, you can see some paragliders out there. It was a pretty cool weekend, nice and sunny, and the kids even had fun because I pulled out the projector and they watched a movie. Well, except for Henry, he was busy playing on his phone or Switch or something like that because he didn't care about what they were watching. He got outvoted. Too many kids.
Gotcha.
But it was a nice weekend. We had fun. Nice, good first run for the trailer. Figured out a few things I need to switch up, like actually bringing my cords for my solar panels and getting a new battery. Nice to know before I was deep in the woods for a long weekend. And Koi, you're missing
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
Things and stuff.
I swear you had that yesterday.
I had that till a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
Oh, the projector is great as a little side getaway. I got a little DVD player. It runs on USB. And then I just use my Jackery, and the little projector I have only uses like 34 watts. So I can run my Jackery with that for quite a few hours. I think the first night they watched a movie, I only lost like 10% of my battery or something like that. So what about you, Aaron? What'd you do?
I had a very busy week. So I got the front end of the Nissan put back together.
Looks beautiful.
Yep, got the winch sucked back in, the winch wiring cleaned up, bunch of work done there. Here's the battery. I replaced the battery terminals, which if I'm not sure if I'm using the right terminology, but I think I am. It's what clamps to the post on the battery.
Yeah, terminals.
So, yep. So for those who are just listening rather than watching, with a lot of accessories, you have a lot of eyelets that go to your positive and maybe your negative. A lot of people don't always send their negatives back to the battery. They just ground them at the chassis, depending on how big the load is. But I got these things, it clamps around the post, and then it gives you 6 spots to clamp something to it with a 3/8 bolt. So got that all taken care of. Had to do some modifying to make it all work, but finally got that on there.
Well, that looks clean.
Yeah, it's better. I am a little worried about the cantilever situation because they hang out 2.5, 3 inches off the side of the battery, and they're not light.
I've been running some like that for years. I've never had a problem.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, if you're super worried about, you could rotate them 180 degrees. You just have to pull off that strap.
So that's the thing. I can't. I bought this specifically because in the very far back, it's called a fusible link, and that's what was the only thing on there from the factory. And the new battery I got, the AGM battery, for some reason is a full inch taller than the last AGM battery I had in there. And that cable was pulled so tight that I barely got it on. So that's why I found this solution.
Gotcha.
So kind of weird. Yeah, so got the Nissan back together, took it for a drive up in the woods on Saturday. It did great. I got to test out my mobile ham radio that we were showing pictures of last week. That and it worked well. It worked really well. Before I had just used the handheld handy talkie, as they call them in the ham radio world, which I think is a really goofy name, but the walkie-talkie ham radios. And it did just okay with a remote antenna, but it was so much better having a microphone and a decent sized speaker that you can hear and stuff like that. So in the comments, Mark says, I have heard that adding extra grounds affects the smart alternator, so I just unplugged mine. So I don't know anything about that. I'm kind of curious maybe to learn more. I thought that was kind of the thing to do on performance things, was to add more grounds from your battery to different points on the engine and the chassis. So that's kind of interesting. The easier it is to get back to the battery, the better it should perform. So Van Seat Adventure says, hey, glad to have you here. And a couple people wish me a happy birthday. So yeah, that's another thing I did, was had a birthday party, went and saw the new Fast and Furious 10 movie.
How was it?
Everything that a Fast and Furious movie is that has the letter X in the name.
It was hot garbage, and I loved every second of it.
So Coy came with me also. Yeah, I got a gun for my birthday. You guys ready to check my gun out?
Yep.
I'm gonna fire it live on the show in my podcast room.
There you go.
Nice. Oh, pop gun.
Little Derringer cap gun.
Perfect.
So I took it to work with me, and I shot it a whole bunch inside the restaurant that we're building out. Probably annoyed a bunch of people, but whatever. I do what I want. It's my birthday.
Yeah, you're the one with the Derringer.
That's right. Yeah, get your own Derringer. If you got an issue with it, we'll shoot it out. And then the last thing I did, I guess there was more than one last thing. I'm trying to get my off-road camp trailer, which is the one that I tipped over 8 years ago. It's hard to believe, but it's been 8 years since I built that trailer, took it on its maiden voyage, and rolled it on its side. But I need to get it put back together. The rooftop tent is off. The interior storage is in disarray because I pull stuff out and just take it solo camping with me. And
you haven't used it in how long?
I haven't used it in probably 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Because I've done a lot of solo stuff without it. So I decided to grease the bearings. I just picked up the grease today, and it has been 8 years since I replaced the axle, or 8 years will happen probably in a week from now. But basically, it's been 8 years since I put a brand new axle underneath it to replace the narrower axle. And I've done 0 axle maintenance to it in those 8 years. So figure it's probably time to do something, grease the bearings. I mean, it doesn't get used constantly. Maybe. It's always been stored under cover. So, yeah, so I'm going to grease the bearings, and then I spent some more time on my shop. I got the last of the trim on the front done. So everything is trimmed out on the front. I still have to screw some of the trim down in the high area. And then there's a little tiny filler panel I got to put in that middle section. You can see that dark line. So, and then the front will be completely done. And then I have to put I need to buy some more trim to replace some that the wind ripped up and those windstorms we had, but buy some trim. I probably have 4 more hours worth of trim work to do. I'll be completely done with the exterior metal siding on it, which I'm super excited about.
It looks good.
Oh, yeah. One more thing, you can barely see it, but behind the big camp trailer, you can see the very back post is black, and up above the trailers, the sky is a little darker blue. I got one of those sunshades, and I got that all mounted up on the whole back area to kind of see what it would do to mitigate the sunshine and the weather from blowing in on the trailer. If it works good, I'll probably put it on the next 3 sides of the shop, because it's a whole lot cheaper than buying more siding.
Are those like a cloth type thing? Or?
Yeah, it's like a woven cloth, although it is a plastic cloth.
That's a good idea. Just to keep down on the UV exposure on your trailer, because that's a lot of what degrades the seal, like the silicone sealant, whatever sealant they use on it.
Yeah.
keeping the UV off of it will help it stay nicer longer.
That's what I'm hoping for. So, yep. How about you, Coy? What did you do besides go see the Fast and Furious movie with me?
Well, I got a little present in the mail today. Well, actually, it's a couple days ago, but my scope showed up.
Oh, nice. The XLR2.
Yep. That's the reticle. It's a Razer HD LHT 4.5 by 22 by 50. So I'm sure it's going to be much more accurate than I am. So that'll be. I got to buy scope rings yet, and get that mounted up, and maybe I'll take it out to Aaron's place and sight it in.
Sounds like a plan.
I changed the oil in our 4-wheeler. Pretty busy weekend. I got some aluminum brightener for my car trailer because it's aluminum, and I wanted to make it brighter and cool. And then I pulled out my tent trailer to get it ready for the upcoming weekend. So I got that all popped up under my back patio here and plugged it in and fired the fridge up. And I'm going to take the propane tanks in tomorrow and fill them all up and just get it ready for the season, you know?
Did you see that video I sent you about changing the oil on your trailer today?
I did not. Not yet.
I did.
It's the last video I sent, and it's pretty funny. It's just a joke video. Some guy backs a flatbed trailer into a shop, and he's got like an oil pan from a car screwed to the bottom of it, and he drains the oil out of this oil pan. And it's just like a how-to video of how to change the oil on your trailer. And then it zooms out to the front tongue area, and he's like, okay, now I only use, ever since I've had this trailer, I only use synthetic oil. And there's an oil fill tube and a dipstick tube, and it shows him pouring oil into it, and then he checks the oil level. It's really funny. So if you have a trailer you need to get ready for trailer season, make sure you're checking the oil and or changing the oil in your trailer. So maybe I'll post that to the podcast haters, pavement haters group here.
Definitely should.
Definitely. Yeah. Oh, actually, one more thing did happen today. I got a package in the mail from Barton. I got a new synthetic rope because mine is beat to smithereens. Like I've got like I had messaged Andy about it. I had a few frays that were integrity like going because of some, like when I was out in Wilkeson, dragging it across the rocks and all that. So it was like, yeah, I need to replace my rope. So I got a new rope. So I get to go through all the fun of replacing my synthetic line because the Xeons are so fun to pull the line through.
Yes, they are.
Zip ties and like standing on it with a rope or with a pulley. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Well, you're lucky you have a winch that sits on top of your bumper. Mine, I have to.
I know. That's why
my bumper.
I know. I'm like, oh, Aaron, you're going to have fun next time you need to switch out your line.
Yeah, I wish.
It sucks.
I wish mine would have showed up a week ago.
Change my cable because I have to undo a little screw on the side and then screw the new one in and then just wind it up, and it's tight in there. You know, my hand is. I got big hands. And, yeah, sometimes I have to have my kids or something to. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, first world problems, right, Coy?
Yeah.
We also want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Patch. Head over to patriotpatch.co and check out their selection of great patches, shirts, cleaning mats, signs, and stickers. You can also join the Patch of the Month Club for $15 and receive a patch, matching sticker, and artist proof each month.
And Memorial Day, well, it's May, so Memorial Day is coming up. That's what the Patch of Month is usually related to, and it is this year. And it says it is foolish and wrong to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God such men lived. And it's a quote by George S. Patton. It's a great patch, very, very well done for Memorial Day, which is just around the corner next week. And and let us not forget our patches, $13 shipped here in the US, 1 for 1, 10 for any additional patches, 10 picked us up from us in person. Shoot us a message through any of your channels, and we can hook you up with PayPal link if you're going to be at the Northwest Overland Rally. We will have patches with us. We will be there. The Lumen Locker patch does indeed glow in the dark, so we'll be there if you're there.
Will we be there, Ben? You buy your ticket?
I bought my ticket today.
Okay, just checking.
No, Aaron asked me, and I was like, you know what? I should just go. He's like, you should just go buy it now. I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So I went and did that.
I twisted his arm.
Both Aaron and I are slowly becoming like ADD, like adept. We're like, you know what? You should do this right now before you think about something else. And then,
without friends
like ADD regulars, slowly but surely.
Yep, just wrangle the Ben, and everything works out.
You add that to my resume.
Yep, Ben Wrangler
helps out with.
You're my special.
Never mind. Yeah,
keeps focused and on task.
Yep, I shine when I'm on task. I really do. It's when I'm off task that nothing happens.
Have tire troubles ever left you deflated? Colby Valve has got you covered. Ever have a valve stem leak? Colby Valve makes reusable and easily replaceable valve stems that don't require you to remove your tire from the wheel. They work with your off-road rig, ATV, side-by-side, commuter vehicle, or even your tractor. Never be left stranded again because of a busted valve stem. They also have a tire repair kit for those punctures that keep you away from doing your favorite thing, wheeling. Make sure to check out colbyvalve.com or ask for them at your local off-road products store.
Oh, so this week, Ford announced the Bronco Trail app, guys. You guys think that's going to be something that a lot of the Bronco users are going to be using?
The Bronco Sport guys?
It doesn't say Bronco Sport. It says Bronco. So I don't know if the sport guys are allowed to have this app. I haven't done that much research, but it is for Bronco owners only. So if you don't have a Bronco,
how do they know? You have to put your VIN in it.
I thought they put this in the notes, but you have to use your Ford Pass account, and then the app links with that. So if you don't have a Ford Pass account, and the Ford Pass account has to be registered to a Bronco, no app for you.
So I feel like we've talked about Jeep having an app like this, right? Very similar.
Yeah, they do have a similar one. Their Trail Hero campaign, something.
And I feel as a non-Jeep or Bronco owner that this is really stupid. Because the idea behind apps and all that is to get as many people using them as possible. So the great thing about like Gaia, GPS, Onyx, literally anybody can use it and benefit from it and share. And all that is like, oh, this is members only club, guys. Screw you.
I think that is kind of the point. Like if you've paid into it, you get this feature. I see it as a feature.
Yeah, Ben spoken like a true poor person.
Yep, spoken like a true poor person that can use.
I can't go to the country club because I don't pay hundreds of $1,000s a year, and I don't own a yacht.
But the funny thing is they're not going to benefit from any of the other information from other people outside of it. And it's going to be limited because how many people that own Broncos are going to take them off-road? And it's going to be just like Jeeps, not as many as everybody that off-roads and is using an off-road related app. I just think you're going to have a limited database compared to what you could have.
Kind of like what I've looked at this app, it looks wildly similar to Onyx Off-Road. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some co-development there. This app does include video recording though, because the Broncos have all these cameras, so you can actually record videos. You can download the maps offline, obviously, and it does a tire pressure monitoring. Now, this part is super interesting. If you pull up on a trail and you're running it, it sees that you have full air pressure and it'll recommend for you to air your tire down to a certain level.
That's
from
interesting.
What other people have aired down to on that trail. So
That's interesting.
I thought that was pretty cool. I mean,
that's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I know. If I had a Bronco, I'd drop it down to 2 and just sit on that, drive up and down that trail like 50 times.
Well, it's like because the Broncos, if I remember correctly, they have an option for the beadlock wheels, right? So if you're a guy with beadlock wheels on your Bronco and you're dropping down to 6 or whatever, and then some guy that knows absolutely nothing is like, oh, I've got this Bronco. This guy says go down to 6. So he goes down to 6. And
there's probably all kinds of warnings and disclaimers, and there's no way a vehicle manufacturer would just be like, air down to 8. They'll be like, air down to 18.
Yeah, probably.
Here's what I say we do, Ben. You buy a Bronco, we'll throw it on my trailer. We'll take it to like a nice groomed trail, like basically a gravel Forest Service road. We'll put it at 0 PSI and we'll just bomb up and down that trail with your truck on the trailer and the app running for several hours. And then everybody else that comes along will be like, wow, it says I should go to half PSI. This app, like I said earlier, links with the Ford Pass account. And also you can sort trails by length, difficulty, region, and then you can actually save trails. Like as you're going through, you're like, oh, that's an interesting one. You can save that just so you can look back at it later.
That is a cool feature. I don't know. There's, was it Trails Off-Road? They've really developed. We had them on the podcast 4 years ago, I want to say.
It's been a while,
and they've really developed their website and now app.
I just bought a 1-year subscription to the Onyx Off-Road just to play with it and try it out. And it's
so the other week when I went out to Wilkeson, I used Onyx Off-Road. Their free trial subscription for like a week. Because my Gaia had lapsed and I was like, oh, let's try something else just for a day to see what it's like. And it was like, oh, this is pretty interesting. So yeah, we don't hate it. Not 100% in love with it, but we've got a podcast episode coming up and I wanted to verse myself with a few other apps.
Gotcha. Well, our next news story here comes from Fox News, and it is the Mammoth Overland Apocalypse trailer. So, looks like your typical like overbuilt overland teardrop trailer.
They've got all the bells and whistles, roto packs, crazy beaver shovel. That's not
lights.
I'm trying to think what that case is.
Well, it looks like a Pelican. It looks like a Pelican case on the back for the first aid kit. I'm assuming that's a first aid in the back corner.
Yep.
So it's got those look like they're not even all-terrain. They look like they're the hybrid, the HT tires, or no RT or whatever you call the middle between mud terrain and all-terrain.
Those are Nittos. I think they are an all-terrain, aren't they?
Okay. Well, they're pretty aggressive looking for all-terrains, I guess is what I'm getting at. So anyways, this Mammoth Overland ELE is a travel trailer designed for extinction level events. So that's what the ELE stands for, apparently. It's constructed of insulated aluminum, which just about all of them are, and equipped with several unique features, which I don't think you'll find at least 3 of these 4 features on regular trailers. So it comes with bear spray. It comes with boom mounted night vision camera. It's got a weather station and a Geiger counter. So that's something. So it has a built-in medical grade EL Faust air filtration system that the company says can remove odors from the inside when you do this 3-minute purge. So that's kind of cool. It'll maybe if you went camping and had lots of beans or something and it stinks inside,
my wife
you could
totally appreciate
filter it out. Yeah. There's a door on the roof that leads to an observation platform where you can, it says where there is a drone launch system. So I don't know if it comes with a drone. It doesn't really say. There's a Starlink internet dish. The interior has a bed, of course, widescreen TV, lockable storage compartments. It's got off-grid power provided by a gas generator, a dual 100-watt solar panels, and 20. It says a 20-hour battery. I don't know what they
20
mean
amp
by
hour battery, maybe.
maybe like I'm not sure what they're saying the 20 hours lasts. So somehow I missed it here. Let me pull the article back up because there was one more thing to talk about here. It's got a really fancy door.
You know what I think's super interesting about this? That it's 4 extinction level events, but they named it the mammoth, like a widely known extinct animal. Like, shouldn't it be called the horseshoe crab or something? Like some animal that lived through a bunch of extinction level events. You know,
That's a good. That's
shrimp
true.
or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
super versed on old animals, but that one weird looking
Crocodiles.
fish that was extinct for like a long time.
The sturgeon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it says it's also equipped with submarine style pressure doors that lock with 4 pins and allow the cabin to be pressurized to 0.25 psi in order to keep the bear spray that you spray and other irritants and pollutants out of the cabin. So you can actually pressurize the interior and keep a positive pressure to prevent things from coming in, which is actually a pretty neat feature. I don't know if this is the same way that they do it on whatever that really cool South African trailer, the Conqueror. I know it pressurized and it kept pressure in it while you're driving because what it does is that pressure prevents the dust from getting inside, which is a super cool feature. So
I have many questions about this trailer. One of which, like, I get that you can lock yourself in this trailer and you're safe from bears and ravaging bands of people and you can bear mace them. But couldn't I just hook up to your trailer and just start driving like a madman, bouncing it off trees and stuff? Like, I can still just hook to the trailer and leave with you.
I
inside.
suppose
I could just take it to the nearest boat ramp and back it into a lake. Like,
well, you gotta keep it pressurized and you'll float. Maybe
yeah.
I don't know.
I guess.
Yeah.
I really want to like be in apocalypse now and come across one of these, and then I can just unload all the gas cans and shovels and stuff while they're locked inside.
Yeah, take all their stuff, loot it.
Well,
Yeah.
I like how it seems, at least from this little GIF they have here, GIF, whatever you want to say it, because I'm sure Aaron, you wanted to contradict me there. It's got
I call it a GIF.
Okay, cool. Oh, that was a Jeremy thing. Never mind. That's who I argued with on that one. The bear spray, it looks like you can remote activate it. I'm just wondering, has anyone ever ran across a bear problem like that where they needed bear spray in their trailer?
I don't know. I think it's just
Like,
something
while
you
you're
buy that
lighting
you
off
brag about.
Maybe if you're lighting off enough those bean farts that the bears are like, that tastes yummy, and you've got a bunch of food inside your trailer and you're surrounded by yogis.
I know you think it's bears, but imagine you're in a camp spot site and then people start camping around you. You just crawl in, pop that off, and wait for them to leave. You know, like you go to an overland rally as you're pulling down the lane, you're going to camp in, just pop off the bear spray. You know,
there you go.
There's a lot of use for the bear spray other than just bears.
Okay, see there that was the
parking lot. Some dudes at your window, like, hey man, can I have $5 bear spray?
Cocaine bear.
So,
that's what you need it for.
Yeah. So last bit of information here. It's priced at $67,000, which is a whole lot of money. You can buy a lot of camp trailer for 67 grand. And one more feature, if you want it to be level 3 bulletproof, it's another $25,000. So
that's
apparently you can make it bulletproof.
As expensive as I thought, because like a Patriot camper, those start at like 50 and go up to like a 90s. Like they're crazy. Like all the high end campers are in that price range, and they're not bulletproof.
I mean, considering some of the places you can camp at where people just shoot willy-nilly, that might be a good option.
Yeah, like if you want to camp in Portland.
Exactly. Downtown Seattle, you decided
Detroit.
to be go camp out in Detroit, and then hey, you get surrounded, pop off the bear spray.
This is really the ultimate homeless shelter.
There we go.
Go prepared with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
Well, speaking of Warren, I got a package from Warren too. And I just thought I'd bring it in the podcast studio. I got one of the Nightline Spidura synthetic ropes also, Ben.
Check Are you copying me?
I am copying you. And looking at this one compared to the last rope, I think this may actually be easier to install than my previous rope that I installed. So I'm kind of looking forward to installing it.
All I remember is I had to use
beauty.
No, it wasn't zip ties. It was paracord. That's what I used.
I thought you used zip ties.
I did, but they broke, and then I punched myself.
Okay.
Because you're pulling so hard, and then it breaks, and
yes,
we've all been there.
I hate it when that happens.
Yep.
Well, this week we are talking about off-road pranks. I'm sure you guys out there listening have seen some pretty epic pranks pulled on your buddies out while you're wheeling or camping or just goofing around. So we thought we'd highlight a good handful of them. So we're just going to kind of go through here and just at the very beginning, these are all jokes that shouldn't cause any damage to someone's vehicle or hurt anybody, but just be aware if you're going to pull these pranks, just think about if there may be repercussions or not. So, but these should all be pretty harmless. Everybody should get a laugh out of them.
Yeah, they should theoretically be 100% reversible. Whereas, it's not like egging someone's vehicle. That causes lots of damage to paint. So don't do that one.
And bologna does too. So don't put
bologna does.
Yeah, apparently bologna will eat your paint somehow. I don't know.
Oops.
I wouldn't waste bologna on someone's rig. I'd be eating it. That's silly.
Right. All right. Well, I'll get this started off here. Cowbell zip tied under someone's rig somewhere. Generally, historically in the off-road community, a cowbell on someone's rig is the dude who likes to put it on its side. So, but
I've never heard that. It's on the side.
I haven't heard that.
Rig?
See, we've awarded people cowbells, but it's people who get lost or wander away, and then you gotta go find them. They get the cowbell in my group of friends.
So theoretically, I should get a cowbell.
I didn't know it was for people who got lost. I thought the cowbell was for people who screwed up somehow while they were wheeling.
Oh, in like the search, it's not necessarily lost, but in the search and rescue group I'm in, we have anytime somebody makes a mistake and goes the wrong place or something, they get the cowbell because historically the cowbell is for a cow that wanders off, so we have a roving cowbell that moves around from person to person.
That's a good one for that. I like that idea. Removing a hubcap and putting a couple rocks into it to clang around. That's hilarious. Dropping some crayons on the wipers on a hot windshield. Because wax on, wax maybe come off, but more wax on. And then
that one doesn't feel 100% reversible. That's like a maybe. Close friends or really not close friends,
Yeah, maybe if it's a close friend, have a razor so you can scrape it off later.
No.
Let's see. Scrape it off. This one's been done to me, and just to give you a little story with it, is a strap from a hitch to a tree. I want to say it was the second time we went snow camping, and we were getting ready to leave, and someone hooked a tree or a strap onto a tree and then onto my hitch, and I went to drive away and I was stuck, and then I backed up and tried to go again. I was still stuck, and I kept going. And then I dug myself in because, give her the goose. And yeah, it's hilarious. It's a good thing I didn't go trying to fly off really fast and wrecking my rig, because that could suck. Um, a little less skinny pedal is very good sometimes.
Yeah, so that one could go poorly if you had a really long strap and they were backed up close to the tree. Like if they had 40 feet by the time they hit the strap, that one could go poorly. But
Yeah.
And pick a substantial tree as well, because you don't want the tree to just fall over on the rig when they drive away. Like,
yeah, good point, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I got the next ones here. So I've never done this. I haven't seen it done, but I'm told that if you put a potato in someone's or a banana in someone's exhaust pipe, that they won't be able to start the rig. It'll just crank and crank and crank. There's too much back pressure. It won't start. So, and then the old wire the horn up to the brake light trick. So every time they step on their brakes, it honks their horn. I had a thought about that one, of an absolutely non-invasive way you could do that, and you could totally sneak it up on somebody, is if they have a 4 or a 7 pin trailer plug, you just go to the junkyard, you buy a horn. You want to get it off of a 70s or 80s Buick or Cadillac, because those always had big loud horns, and sometimes they were dual horns. That's always the ones I would grab from the wrecking yards, and I put them on my Ford Escorts and stuff. So you get one of those horns and you zip tie it up underneath something, and then you just tie the wire from that right in and to a harness, and all you have to do is zip tie it or clip it on with a carabiner, and you plug it into their harness, and when they step on the brakes, it activates the horn. So you didn't have to do anything to modify their rig to get that one to work.
Instead of the brake light, if you're going with the harness, I would do the turn signals.
Yeah, but nobody uses their turn signals when they're off road. It's not like they're turning.
I gotta go with Ben on this, because you get in, you start the rig, it immediately starts honking. You want them to get down the road a ways. Like, it needs to be a delay.
Yeah. I get you. I see your point.
Like, that's a good one. Like, if you've got it on a magnet and you put it under their rig and you hook it into the trailer pin, that way they keep going down. That you air down before you hit the trail, and you alternate your turn signal as you're going down to the trail, and then honk, 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 honk. That's good.
Or maybe you do it as you're airing back up, so you're leaving the trail. So
even better.
Maybe that's when you do it.
Then you yell at them, "Why are you honking at me, you idiot?"
Yeah. Mark in the comments says to add a remote to the system. That's going to take a little bit more wiring. Maybe a low voltage guy might be able to speak up and help out with that kind of a project. I don't know. Not low voltage.
Yeah, those are easy.
Yeah, super. Last one we got here on my list here is to replace the valve stems with a novelty valve stem that you buy on Amazon or someplace like that. So that happened to me once. Actually, it happened to everybody on one of the wheeling trips we were on. And I still don't remember if it was Jeremy or Rick that did that to us.
I feel it was Jeremy, but Rick falls under that same shenanigan tree.
Yeah.
How phallic shaped were these caps?
100%.
Okay.
100%. Yes.
Yeah, and
I
you
just
can
thought,
print
what kind of
those.
funny cap would it be? And I was like, that's what it is.
It's exactly what it is. Yeah. I'm sure maybe you can get some other funny ones, but that's what these ones were for sure.
Yeah, and they're 3D printed. I could 3D print up 1 billion of them really easy. They're not hard.
Sure, what you're waiting on. So a couple that I'll throw out there is the windshield squirters. You can flip those things around backwards on somebody else's car, and then they're just spraying them the other way, or flip your own around backwards, and then they're water cannons, and you can just go blast people with them. It's always funny.
Yeah.
The other one, a lot of them are adjustable if you just use a small needle. Inside, there's a little kind of tip in there. You can just take that needle and just aim those things all the way up, and it'll just shoot straight over your vehicle. and doesn't touch your windshield. That's hilarious. And then, never knock on stabbing a few holes in a can of tuna, sliding under the seat. That's one of those jokes that gets better with age. Tuna can under the seat. It just, at first you're like, that's weird. And then, 2 days later, you're like, man, that smell keeps coming back. And then you finally tear it apart. I've also learned firsthand that a couple jars of fish eggs will do about the same thing. I had somebody do that to me.
That one's a tricky one though, because you don't want that to spill in their rig, so you'd have to.
That's I think why it's better to use fish eggs, because there's no moisture really. I mean,
okay,
there's not a liquid in there, and you just poke a couple holes, grab a couple cans. Yeah. And then last but not least, magnetic stickers can always be funny. You slap it on, they can say all kinds of things. We encountered some guys on the trail when we were at Klein Butte, and they put a student driver sticker on one of their wheeling buddies' vehicle on the passenger side, and then they filmed it, and then they just kept talking about student driver stuff, and he finally ended up seeing it. But yeah, the old student driver one.
That's a good one.
Ben and I encountered that on
Gambler.
Was it the Washington Gambler 500? I think it was the Washington one. It was both. Okay,
it was both Gamblers, because it was the same guys that started it in the Washington Gambler. But I saw it started off in the Washington one, and it continued on into the Oregon one.
Yeah, we can't repeat on air what it said, but it was a magnetic bumper sticker. And what happened was someone bought it at a gas station, and it went onto somebody's car, and then it got moved from that car to the next car, and it got onto our car, and then it went to somebody else's vehicle. So it got passed around through tens of vehicles, which is really funny.
Yeah, let's just say if you get offended, it's offend. Yeah.
I had one kind of like that. A guy he just hand wrote it on a magnetic one that it had been like some utility company that had faded, and it was completely white. And then he just wrote, "Show me your boobs," and then stuck it on the back passenger door of my work truck as I was leaving. And I drove all the way home. And then that particular day, for some reason, at that time, my girlfriend worked at A&W. I just whipped the work truck right in there with this giant "Show your boob" sticker on the side. And she was like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then I was like,
whoops. Yeah. So that's a pretty harmless prank, unless you're dating someone who is psycho, and then it's not a harmless prank because they might kill you.
Yep. Let's see. Plastic wrap around the whole vehicle. That's a classic one. We used to do that when I worked at the grocery store. Someone's last day at the grocery store, we'd usually wrap their whole vehicle in saran wrap. It was great, especially when it's the good industrial stuff. That's like
you gotta get a roll of the industrial stuff, and if you have access to a heat gun, boy, you can really make it good.
Seal it in. Rick did something like that to Jeremy on our trip to Central Oregon to Christmas Valley when we were at the Green Mountain Fire Lookout. Jeremy disappeared for a while, and Rick broke out some caution tape, and I think he had saran wrap also. I can't remember, but I know for sure he wrapped caution tape all around Jeremy's Tacoma.
Nice. Post-it note the whole rig or a window. A whole window's really good if you don't have much time.
Yeah, that's a lot of post-it notes.
That's a lot of post-it notes. Fill the rig with balloons. That's a classic chuckle right there. And then this one I've experienced firsthand. Jacking up a vehicle that is in the snow, digging out the tire area, and then dropping it back down into the hole, especially after they were very cocky and giving everyone crap about how they didn't get stuck all weekend. So they showed you.
It was a good time and nobody got hurt.
It was the best time and nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
Except my feelings.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, this one, I've never seen anybody do off-road, but I've seen like way back in the day when people get married, they tie a bunch of pop cans or tin cans to some string tied to the rear bumper. That'd be a good one. You could have that pre-built ahead of time, so all you have to do is drop a loop of rope or paracord over someone's hitch or around someone's bumper or something like that. That'd be an easy one to pull off. You could Mark, that one's coming up here in just a couple seconds. You can adjust all the vehicle settings, so they leave the rig unattended, but the keys are in it or something. You go in there and you adjust all their mirrors, change the radio station, slide their seat all the way forward. Just kind of mess with it that way.
Oh, I do that to my wife, and she's done it to me. So like we've had a few cars where they have like the smart settings, so you have one for your seat, two for theirs, and she switched it on me. And so like I go the seat's all the way back, and I hop in, and all of a sudden it's going all the way forward, and I'm hitting her button, my button, and then like the steering wheel's on my lap, and I can't go up or down because I'm all the way up against
You're pinned.
I am pinned, and then the mirrors are like cocked all the way out or in. Yeah, it's so annoying.
Yeah.
It's great.
Here's another one I saw someone do in high school. They jacked someone's rig up and they put some blocks underneath it, so that the tires were just half an inch or so off the ground. So it didn't look like the tires weren't touching the ground. And then you get in and you try to drive, but they just spin in the air and you can't go anywhere because you're jacked up in the air. That's a funny one. And then I pulled this prank about a month ago while I was at work, where when the vehicle's running and they walk away from it, or they walk away from it with the keys in the ignition, you grab those keys, you make sure all the windows are up, close the door, lock it, and just shove the keys in your pocket. And you have to have a good poker face for this one. And then when they walk back to their rig, they think that they locked their keys in the rig, and they're looking in all the windows and they're checking all their pockets and they're asking their passenger. And then finally you can pull the keys out and say, "Joke's on you, I took them." So
my wife does that one to me almost every time we drive up in the mountains. Not as a joke. She's just like being safe by taking it. And I'm like, just never lock the doors when we're
Yeah. What I do, if my key stays in the truck, my window goes down enough that I could reach an arm in to unlock something.
I do the exact same thing, but then I come back and the windows are rolled up and I'm like, where are the keys?
So I bring 2 sets of keys with me anytime I go out. Like I'll have a set that I keep in my pocket, and then I have a set that I'm using for starting the truck and whatever. And it's just like, all right, start. And then because I've never locked my keys in the 4Runner, that's some wood right there. But just in case, I've got a way to get myself back in.
Yeah, I've done that too. Like if I have my wife coming, I'll have her keep a set of the keys while I have the other set.
Actually, I think one of the trips we were on, I gave you my spare set of keys. I was like, Aaron, hold these for me just in case.
I remember, yeah. Justin in the comments says tapping a wrench on something metal while being a spotter. That'd be a good one. Yeah,
that's always classic.
I've done that to someone when they, first start on an engine, where they've been doing some engine work, and then
honestly,
that's a weird noise.
I ever do some engine work and the motor has a knock and I have friends there, at this point in my life, I'm just going to assume that I'm probably going to start throwing revs at my knocking motor. Like, I just won't even believe it. Another classic is the old exhaust whistle. I remember buying some of these when I was young, sticking them in everybody's exhaust pipe. Always good. Then the taking the license plate frame, you can buy all kinds of ones that say crude stuff and punk if you're something like and put a new license plate frame on there, and then removing their positive battery terminal and just kind of
like that one
to the side. That's decent. They're gonna find it as soon as they pop the hood. Another old school one that's very similar. A lot of the old Chevys and stuff, the distributor just snaps into place. They're just little and then just reach in there and pop their rotor and just put it in their cup holder and pop it back.
Oh,
They'll crank on it quite a bit before they realize there's no rotor. That's a classic.
good. Yeah, you just pop the cap off, pull the rotor out, clip the cap back down. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you can really mess somebody up doing that. And then what became a classic for us now is the old smoke bomb. Definitely my best practical joke I've played. I'm still actually waiting for. I know, Rick. Yeah, like, I deserve it and I expect it. Something's coming. I just don't know when or where.
Coming.
I don't know. When you can make a firefighter panic the way he did, that was amazing.
It was classic. And what really set it off is I went to the res and I got some fireworks, but I got one. It was a smoke bomb called Tire Fire, and it is just dark black smoke. And I've tried to find them since, and I don't know if the black ones are really even legal, but during a snow camping trip, he pulled Rick ahead of this. It has this real nice, beautiful orange Jeep, and he pulls it up in front of dragging some firewood, old dead tree in. And then they're back there sawing on it. And then I just lit it and threw it kind of under the bumper of the front of the truck and then just walked off. And smoke bombs, they take 10 seconds to really get ahead of steam going. And then, somebody finally like, hey, your truck's smoking? And boy, he jumped and started running. It was like, fire extinguisher. He's looking at everybody that's just standing there. He got in front of it, thought, damn you guys, kick some snow,
It
was good. We all had a very good laugh. I don't remember. I may have actually laid down in the snow to laugh for a little while. It was a deep belly laugh on my part.
We're gonna tell that one at your funeral, Coy. That's one of those stories that gets told at a funeral. You remember the time when Coy did the smoke bomb? Yeah.
I mean, I like that, but it's also discomforting that you're thinking of stories to tell at my funeral.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's one of those epic stories that is so good, it'll be remembered forever, and you'll be immortalized by it.
I like that.
That's all. Yeah.
I was looking. I thought I had a picture of that on my computer, but I can't find it, of that fire, because that was a good one. Oh, yes, here it is. I'm going to upload it real quick. Just for those who are watching, it's totally worth seeing.
We're going to have to make some new friends at some point because at this point, and
this is kind of a blurry picture of it.
It is.
Yeah.
Really
Did you take that picture with a potato?
I think so. After it got pulled out of somebody's tailpipe.
There we go. Just a bad upload. There you go.
Okay.
So all you can see is the black smoke in front of it, and that's the picture that Rick walked to. So yeah, we're just laughing. Poor guy. Let's see. Put a for sale sign up in the window is a pretty good one. Tell your friend that you pulled a prank on their rig and tell them that they have to find it, but you have actually done nothing. Air their tires up to 50 psi because their spines will love you for it. And then a zip tie on the driveline. And I have more to add to this because the zip tie on the driveline is pretty classic, right? But like Coy and I, well, actually all three of us, we drive IFS vehicles. So we have those CV axles that are freely spinning there. A zip tie on one of those, and it goes from, oh no, I have a broken, to a clicking driveline to, oh no, I have a broken CV axle or something like that. And you can even pull it on those weird guys that drive two-wheel drive vehicles too.
Another harmless version of the air it up to 50 psi. We're off-roaders. Everybody's got an air compressor. You're camping. Just pull a valve stem. You can just run all their
drop it to nothing. Absolutely.
And they get up in the morning, it's just sitting on the rims. That's all. It's always I had friends do that before.
I think that's a good one to do maybe when you're sitting around camp, but not like when you're halfway down a trail. You don't want to really have them roll their lead off or something.
They need to get up in the morning to that. Not just run into the bushes to use the bathroom, come down, the tires on it, everything's on the rims.
Well, and you don't even have to necessarily pull that. You could take their valve cap and just put like a rock in there that's just big enough, and then screw it on, and it'll drain out the air.
I'm gonna just take them all and set them in the cup holder again. Just here's your valve stems.
Yeah. Let's see here. We got the old zip tie a harmonica to the grill, which Justin mentioned that one in the comments. I haven't done that one, but it makes me want to go pick up a cheap harmonica and do that. This one I just I made up, but I think it's kind of funny. You go get a large piece of vinyl and in the middle of the night, like make their front fender hot pink or something with the vinyl car wrap. It'd just be different and weird, harmless, fun. I don't know. And then dig a hole in front of someone's tire when they're stopped for like a lunch break. I don't think they'd have to be stopped for a long enough time, but like they're stopped for a lunch break, you dig a hole in front of their tire that they don't see in front of like a front passenger tire, and they're pulled off the trail. And then when they go to leave, they immediately fall into the hole that you just dug. That happened one time. I believe it was on Barlow Trail when I went Barlow Trail about 8 years ago, actually. And my friends were goofing around, and someone dug a hole in front of the other guy's tire, and bloopy, just like the truck doesn't tip over, but like it's deep enough that half of your tire falls into it, and it's the front half of your truck which is heavier, and you lift the back tire up off the ground, and everybody's wondering what in the world just happened. And yeah, it's good times.
It's always good to play pranks on your friends, even if you're the pranked.
Have you guys had any pranks done to you that haven't been listed here that may be even more evil than what we've shared, or less evil? Just like, what's your most gotcha prank that's been happened to you?
I've got one I just thought of while we were doing this one, and I'm saving it until I do it to one of you. So,
that's decent.
I can't think of anything. I've been pranked so many times that I don't think I need to be pranked anymore. I've just been pranked so many times.
It's
unnecessary to prank me anymore.
I've gotten stickers on my rig that I thought were hilarious. Like I've got, I think it's a pink bicycle with flowers in the basket, and it's on my windshield, or not my windshield, my rear window, with all my other decals. I'm like, that one's a little different. I've just left it there. It's actually starting to fade and fall off. I'm like, don't let Rick's sticker fall off.
It's like a badge of honor, right?
Yeah. I've gotten, because I'm so clumsy, I've gotten the gift of medical supplies. It's kind of a joke, like, hey, here you go, clumsy guy. Here's 3 eye patches, because
Yeah, that's not really that. Like, it's like, hey, you're a terrible shot, so guys, buy me red dot scopes. Like, I mean, oh no,
yeah,
that's so insulting.
right? It's like a joke, but at the same time, it's like, oh, thank you. I this
think
stuff.
the prank that got me the most, and I'm still uncertain who did it. This prankster was next level, because they didn't even come in for that super rewarding part and reveal themselves. We were out over east, and I was actually, I wasn't wheeling, I was doing construction work out there, but we were camping during the week, and then we would drive home on weekends. And somebody found a rattlesnake that had been ran over and was dead, and then coiled that up right at my driver's door. And then I got up in the morning, opened the door, leaned in, fired the truck. And when you lean in, you look down, and there's a massive rattlesnake that I'm like at my feet. And I just did that cartoon thing where I like levitated, I spun, I kicked off the truck, tripped, stumbled, like a full freak out. And it then after I got up closer look, you could just see a tire mark right through the middle of it. But I could, yeah, they got me good. There was nothing.
That's a good one.
They never said who they were. Nobody would admit to it that was there. I have some ideas, but I have no proof.
Mark put Jeep stickers on not Jeeps. I love that. It makes me want to get like the ducks that the Jeep people like doing, and put like nice Jeep and like give it to like the Bronco guys. or
Yes. I love
Or-
calling people's rigs by what they aren't.
yeah, it's the scout guys love that too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice
You call the
Bronco.
Scouts and the Broncos, you call them Jeeps. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good way to ruffle some feathers.
I like it. If I were to see Todd, I would probably have a duck for him. Be like, "I love your Jeep, man. It's a nice blue Jeep."
Yep. Well, that's about it. If you guys have any that you want to share with us. Oh, here we got one more here. Mark in the comments says that he had someone sneak around behind me and disconnect my airlines while I was airing up. That's kind of funny. Yeah, so if you've got any that we've missed, make sure you write into us, share them with us. We'll read them in the coming weeks.
Throw them up on the
the
Pavement Haters Club. You know,
yeah. We'll read them on the podcast too if we come across them. So next week we are talking off-road acronyms. So if you have been wondering what a TRD really stands for, stay tuned. And also, thank you everybody who's listening weekly and those who are watching us live on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate you sharing us with your friends. If you haven't already, make sure you're clicking that like and subscribe and notification bell, all those things. Help us grow our podcast. We appreciate you. God bless America.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren Medical Gear Outfitters and Colby Valve to see all their great gear. We're a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a comment or question? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.net or through our social media channels by searching for Offroad Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe, and courteous. Thanks for listening.